Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat for the week of June 2nd, 2016. I am your host, Jose Otero, and this is a very special episode. We've got a lot of people coming on this show today. If you look around the room and you're watching us on video, I am joined this week by Armando Torres.
Hey.
Callie Pleggy.
Hello.
And Miranda Sanchez.
Hello.
Because there was some new Pokemon information, but before we get into that, I want to quickly remind you that NVC is now on YouTube. You can go check that out by going to youtube.com/Nintendo Voice Chat. Do not look for us under NVC. You will not find us. I've said this before. Also, E3 is fast approaching, and IGN has a live show that you should make sure to tune in and check out. We will be carrying everything that Nintendo is doing on day one, which means there will be, and we'll get into this later in the show, but there'll be some Pokemon Sun and Moon stuff. There will be new Zelda stuff. That's always fun. And once again, as I mentioned, this is a special format this week, so stick around because after the break, we've got special guests. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. But let's kick it off with the reason we're all here. Pokemon Sun and Moon, new intel approaches. I mean, we're excited. Yep. We're still excited. Yes, everyone here?
Super
so excited.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So let's kick it off into sections. Let's start with the new legendary details, which Pokemon Company said today. So you got to help me with this pronunciation. Solgaleo?
I've been saying Solgaleo.
I've been saying Solgaleo just because of the Galileo.
I think Leo,
yeah.
but Leo Lion.
Leo Lion,
true.
that makes a little
True.
Both sides. This is what I hate about.
I'll take it.
Okay, so this is a psychic and steel type Pokemon. Has a new ability. Both have new abilities, but his ability, its ability, it's not gendered yet. Full metal body, which prevents status lowering conditions from other Pokemon. It has a new attack called Sun Steel Strike, which looks like a Spirit Bomb meets a Kamehameha.
It's interesting. I want to back up a little bit because Full Metal Body is technically a new ability. I talk about this a lot, and I did a in-depth breakdown of the trailer that you can find on IGN. But the ability Full Metal Body is new, but it's not a new thing. It's it's basically Clear Body.
Yeah,
with
Clear
a name.
Body's existed for a while.
It's basically Clear Body, but with a name that goes with the steel typing, so it'll just not take into account any stat changes from abilities or moves.
Good for clearing that up, because marketing will tell you it is a new ability when technically it isn't.
It is technically a new ability.
Cool.
But in conjunction with Sun Steel Strike, I think it's interesting because the move, one of the main traits of that move is that it doesn't take into account the target's ability when you're attacking. I'm not sure it doesn't say what the type of that move is. It looks like a fire move, but who knows?
But it's not a fire Pokemon.
It's not a fire Pokemon. So I don't know what typing that move is going to be, but I think there's a lot of ability checking going on with this Pokemon, which makes it interesting to play in battle, I think. So.
Totally.
I think it's weird also because it's not fire, because it's the sun Pokemon. It's a little surprising.
So I was expecting fire for sun and dark for moon, but no. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely a curveball for sure. I think everyone was expecting Solgaleo to be a fire type for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what I thought Lunala was supposed to be.
So
initially.
I'm actually really happy Solgaleo isn't fire type because we already have fire type lion Pokemon. Yeah. So I was gonna be okay, yawn. So I'm kind of glad.
we have plenty of fire legendaries, and one of the problems with him is that I was worried about it feeling too much like the legendary beasts. You're kind of run with that pack, but not really.
Entei, Suicune.
Yeah. Okay, so then the other Pokemon in the room is Lunala, which I am saying that right, I hope. This is the legendary you will be catching in Moon, and this is a psychic and ghost type Pokemon. So Lunala's ability is Shadow Shield, which they're also saying is new. Is that new?
Shadow Shield's new.
So it isn't mentioned in the trailer. You have to read this on Pokemon.com or in a press release.
Yeah, in a press release.
So quickly, it causes it to take less damage at full HP.
Yeah, which sounds really dumb at first, but it's really, really interesting if you consider that I've been saying Lunala because Luna, I don't know. But this Pokemon will probably carry a recovery move like Moonlight.
Totally.
I'm 99% sure it's going to be Moonlight.
Yeah, and if not, it has Moongeist Beam, which we'll get to that, but I want to put that out there.
But Moonlight will allow it to recover HP. So at first it sounds like, Shadow Shield's just going to make the beginning of the battle better. But I think if you couple that with a recovery item like a berry or leftovers or something like that, and a recovery move like Recover or Moonlight, you're going to really extend the longevity of this Pokemon in battle. So I think it's really, really interesting. And now that they're allowing legendary Pokemon in the competitive scene, that makes it kind of a really powerful contender, especially with the psychic ghost typing. So I mean that'll not be good with dark type Pokemon, but
totally,
still. And then Moongeist Beam has the same trait as Sun Steel Strike. which is it doesn't take into account the receiving Pokemon's ability. In the trailer, they use Gengar, which its ability is Levitate, so it's definitely not a ground type move.
Probably not the best example to use.
It's not really the best example for the ability dodging thing. I just think it's really cool that these Pokemon have ability checking moves, which is like not really a huge thing right now. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably see a resurgence of I don't know, Leech Seed and like any like move that just like plinks away at HP like constantly like. That seems like it's going to be a pretty good counter for Lunala.
That's the competitive metagame too, right? It's more about the long game than it is about the short-term game, right?
Right.
Like just basically chopping away at someone slowly.
Yeah, definitely.
Tank battles.
Yeah.
By the way, have we had a psychic ghost type Pokemon before? Or is this the first one we've seen?
That's a good. I wonder if.
So initially
is Chimecho psychic ghost?
I think.
Hold on, I have a Pokedex app on my phone.
Chimecho's just psychic. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't think
Hold
it's
on.
psychic.
I have an app on my phone.
Well, while
We'll
she's
confirm
checking that, let's talk about then like this Lunala itself
It's just
looks
psychic.
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Pokemon.
I think both legendaries they nailed it this time.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. They definitely represent their game very well.
Yeah, and they look really cool. Like the biology of Lunala with its like claw things is the coolest. I love it.
Yeah.
Part of me was kind of hoping that it would become or it would be poison type, just because we've never had a poison legendary type, and since the introduction of fairy type Pokemon, poison types have kind of been like more sought after than before, but didn't happen. But I'll take a psychic ghost.
Yeah.
It's a unique typing.
Yeah, and there's still
I'm down.
time, right? They'll definitely like we can only hope for more legendaries in the vein of like that hidden stuff that you just didn't know was going to be in the game.
Right.
This
We'll
is clearly just the stuff on the box.
We
Yeah.
have to get something else.
Yeah.
There will be eventually. Just but the patterns of the past Pokemon we've gotten. So.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, there hasn't been a psychic ghost.
Okay.
There's a whole list on Bulbapedia of Pokemon with unique typing, and it's not on there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So.
Good catch.
Please let me know if there is one I'm forgetting about. There are over 700, so it's entirely likely.
could've
And it's
slipped.
understandable, but email us at nvc@ign.com. All right, so then let's talk about character details. So we have a new professor in, I need help with this one, Kukui, who to me looks like the most relaxed Poke professor yet.
Yeah.
It's almost gotten to the point where just put a lab coat on him, like that's it,
Yeah,
him
like
or her.
what's up with these male model Pokemon
Yeah, I was about to
professors?
say,
Yeah,
so-
where's your female?
Pokemon Company though, like saw what they did with Professor Sycamore. Fans loved him. He's super handsome, rugged,
That fan art.
French.
And French.
And so like they just took it to the next level with like bare torso and like everything, just like super mellow looking. I don't know. I think they're trying to cash in on that.
I saw on Twitter someone zoomed in and he does have a ring on his finger. So sorry,
bummer.
everybody.
Yes, I can confirm this right now.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
But if you don't know, every Pokemon professor has a specialty that they study. So Oaks is the relationship between humans and Pokemon. Elms from the Johto region is Pokemon breeding, which that actually had a lot to do with the story of Johto. That was the introduction of eggs and breeding, and that was a big driving force of that game, of those games. So Kukui's is moves. He studies Pokemon moves, which makes Sunsteel Strike, which is hard to say, and Moongeist Beam more interesting because those moves kind of have unique effects. I don't really think of many commonly used moves that do that with abilities. So it's usually an ability that counters abilities. These are moves that counter abilities. So I think there's a lot of connection to be made there with his studying of moves, and Pokemon Company does say that has a lot to do with the story. So.
Sure. No, it makes sense to put whatever is the main thing or feature behind a specific methodology or idea. In this case, being the professor from game to game. So yeah, it's a good call. Anything to add?
I'm more interested in his assistant, Lily.
She's cute. The mysterious girl.
But yeah, I would say she's kind of sketch though.
We are going to get to that. No, that's the good point. I guess last thing on him I want to bring up is that in the trailer they show him talking to you via what looks like Skype. And it's just like it has its own little in-game Skype. That's not new to Pokemon. However, the UI had, and this could just be UI flair, but it had a video recording button. Obviously, it had a photo button, then it had a settings button. I'm just hoping, and that just got thinking in my mind, that the last two Pokemon games, which have been on 3DS and do support Miiverse, do not take advantage of that. You
Yeah.
cannot share
Right.
screenshots. You cannot take them. You cannot put them on social media in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like that's a missed opportunity with Pokemon, honestly. Like, I know that Pokemon Company strives to preserve the mystery of those games. They definitely want you, even though you can jump on the internet and go to a guide, they don't
Right.
want you having easy access to some of that stuff. They want
Right.
to preserve the experience. But I do think it's a missed opportunity, especially since games are more and more social today than they've ever been.
Yeah, and Pokemon's super shareable. We saw with all the fan art of the starters, and I've already seen fan art of Lily.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like hours after they announced her, there's
Yeah.
really cute fan art of her. Like,
Yeah, so this
that community
isn't
is really shareable.
Yeah, so this isn't a case of like smoke and fire, like me saying, oh, well, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
More the case that this set off in my mind. I really do hope this game will embrace that because I do think stuff like that is important to sharing your game experience, and that's cool.
Yeah, and Kukui also says in that same scene you're talking about that the region is chock full of
Oh,
rare
yeah.
Pokemon, and I don't really know if that means.
Lies. No, I'm kidding.
Well, they did say if you're reading on the Pokemon website or in a press release or something, they say there's like a lot of new Pokemon undiscovered species that are.
Right.
So it sounds like they're adding a lot to this already very large roster, but. I don't know if rare Pokemon necessarily means new Pokemon. I mean, sometimes that's the language the Pokemon games use is like, oh, there's rare Pokemon in this region. You just,
Right.
I'm like,
It's just
you just
Pokemon
mean like
you've never seen.
You just mean like they're not in Kanto.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
No,
yeah.
it's a good thing to point out, and especially this year of all years where Pokemon's 20th anniversary, if you're on the internet or if you're connected to the mystery gift, you're getting rare Pokemon every other
All
month,
day.
week, 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Get that Manaphy.
Get
Yeah.
the mana fee.
Yeah, that's right. This week,
Yeah.
make sure you get on that. Okay, so let's talk then about. So his assistant is named Lily. Very sketch looking from the beginning of marketing, called Mysterious.
Right, and like even on the website, she's his assistant for personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of weird. Like, is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's in it for some personal gain or
You
something.
think she's a villain?
I don't know. Like she looks very angry in her portrait.
Yeah.
She's like sort of Lolita-esque, but like scary.
I was thinking more of a personified Gothitelle.
Oh man.
But in the last statement of her little bio and the details on Pokemon.com, it says that she will become very important to this story. And so
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's totally gonna be a villain.
She's like N, basically,
yeah,
right?
she could be. Yeah.
So
Okay.
an interesting thing too is with what her professor is studying, it kind of contrasts with what she dislikes because she is not fond of Pokemon fighting.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
it's like, how can you be okay with him studying movesets if you don't like them fighting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even in
Yeah. That's
even
at
in-
odds. Good point. Good catch.
Yeah, and even in the professor's bio on the site, they say he has even taken hits himself to study moves.
Wow.
It's like,
And
Brave man.
she's more bookish and she's more into reading and she doesn't like fighting. So there's this weird like tension of like, why would you be the assistant to a professor who studies things you hate about Pokemon?
Yeah, maybe she's planning some
Yeah, they're
underground
all
like,
Maybe she's
liberation
a
movement.
double agent.
under that huge hat of hers.
Yeah.
The new Team Rocket.
Very
will
very
appear.
N-like for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Or Lysander or
And if
whatever.
you're
Yeah,
familiar,
yeah.
N was the main villain in what, Black and White?
Black and White.
Yeah, Black and White, Gen
Okay,
5.
cool.
Yep.
So then we have finally on the character front your new friend and also potential rival. I mean, it's very unclear. They introduced him as a friend.
Yeah, I mean,
Pronounce that name.
they've been
How?
how
Yeah.
they've been
H-A-U.
How?
how yeah
How?
how yeah
Yeah.
it's definitely Hawaii inspired,
Yeah.
so I'm not entirely sure, but
Yeah, we're
they've
bad
been,
at that. Sorry, guys.
they've been moving away from the full-on rival into like friendly rival thing for a while. So he's
Yeah.
just like this friendly jumping around. He loves
X and
to
Y was really good at that because
Yeah.
each friend had a different discipline they were into.
I
You had
love
one that
that.
liked
Yeah.
dancing,
Yeah.
although I wish they had taken that a step further and there had been something more involving dance in that game.
Yeah.
But whatever, like
yeah.
regardless.
I liked that a
Maybe
lot.
next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe this
Good
time.
point. Maybe this time.
Maybe.
Hope so.
We don't know. We don't have
Yeah.
it yet.
Yeah,
Yep.
like a luau with Pokemon.
Yeah, like,
Blossom in a luau.
Oh,
Make it
Boom.
happen. Fan
make
art.
it happen. Yeah, and then in the scene in the trailer where Hal shows up, you also see Lily's very like angry smirk. Again, I don't know what's
I
up
want
with
to
her.
cosplay her so bad.
Yeah. So then last section
nice.
for us is your new region details and miscellaneous stuff. So we know that the Aloha region is made up of several
Alola.
islands.
Alola.
Alola. Excuse me. I spelled that wrong. Damn, autocorrect. That's what happened. I'm like, why did I spell it that way? So we have 4 islands on the map, but 3 are natural. 1 is man-made. makes you wonder what's going on there. That's probably going to lead into something. But again, that point, chock full of nothing but rare Pokemon, according to the professor.
Yeah, and I think the man-made one, I think it's 4 islands plus the man-made one, as far as I could tell. There's
on the map, there's
four,
the tiny
and the
little
man-made one's kind of in the
So I got the number count wrong. There we go. 4,
yeah, it's 4 and then
one.
this like
so
baby
5
one.
total.
Yeah. And I imagine that the man-made nature is going to be interesting. It reminds me of sort of like the power plant in the first Pokemon games, where there's like Pokemon specific to that very industrial environment versus the natural environment of the regular islands. So I'm really interested to see how that goes.
It's also really small comparatively, though. Like I'm thinking like it definitely might take the form of like the Elite Four Pokemon League or like a battle resort type thing.
Maybe something like a battle resort.
It could have been that resort we saw in the concept art.
The concept art also looked like a battle resort.
Yeah, it did.
So it's unclear. I hope it has something to do with like non-natural looking Pokemon. I also hope there's more fire type Pokemon with volcanoes because
There are a ton of volcanoes.
There's so many volcanoes.
There were so many,
and
yeah.
that's you need that tight balance, and I think with an island like a island region, you kind of run into that trap. So I like that they're doing this man-made island. I hope there's unique Pokemon that can be found there of different typing. You don't want to fall into the one type or the like one kind of ecology trap, and I think volcanoes and man-made
Yeah, like
thing
even
have
one
to
of
do
them
that.
is like super tall. Like looking at the map, the biggest island has like a snow-covered mountain, or I guess maybe a dormant volcano.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like it has geological differences, even though they're all islands.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that. And each one looks like pretty big. So like to me, it feels like almost like you have like 4 different regions like completely to play with.
Yeah, it looks a lot bigger, at least from the map we see in that trailer, than previous regions, which is super exciting to me.
Definitely.
I want more adventure.
Yeah, I will say, so I was very happy to see that map. I'm also hoping that Fly returns the way it was done in Omega Ruby and
Soar over
ability, excuse me.
Hoenn,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, the actual ability to fly over and like see that stuff, I think would be a lot better. But I will say that the stuff they showed in game of the island in general, I don't mean to kind of attack them over this, but it did seem just very run of the mill, very lame to me. Like it's just, your character running through empty fields, like they didn't look lively at all. And even when they went to the one section, which is a town, you barely saw anyone there. And of course, this could be about the long game. They can show more stuff over time. But in terms of just your actual in-game gameplay, didn't really look like anything special to me.
In the previous trailer, we did see kind of a sort of like a beachside strand, and there was like a truck and a guy, and there were things going on there.
Yeah. Even think of the concept art we saw in that very first reveal, where there were like these cars and things, and you're like, man, this place is going to be alive. And so far, I just haven't seen that.
Doesn't look like that, although they are set. There is like a disclaimer at the bottom that's like in-game footage, not final. So I wonder if that's kind of like not part of what they're showing right now. But I would like to see it be more lively. And then we also see that there's clearly a day-night cycle again.
Yep. Which is good. Important. Go ahead, please.
Oh, sure. I was just going to mention that the last Japanese commercial that came out for Pokemon Sun and Moon, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube analyzing it, and they had noted that there was they actually accidentally had left a unannounced Pokemon in the overworld.
Oh,
for a brief
I saw something
second.
about this.
So I'm wondering if Pokemon Company, like took note of that and were just like trying to like reveal as little as possible for this trailer.
No, that's a good point.
That's a good
really
point.
good thing to think about. So then I guess our combined favorite thing is next, and it is that the Pokedex is not your run-of-the-mill Pokedex that you've been
Your
seeing
Pokedex is a Pokemon.
Yeah, so Rotom, which is a Pokemon that was introduced in Diamond and Pearl, will possess and can possess household appliances. Apparently will possess your Pokedex because it's a specially made device for it. And it will interact with you. It will talk with you. Quote, a whole new way for people and Pokemon to communicate.
Yeah, so there's a couple interesting things here. It doesn't seem like a new Rotom form. Like there's different forms. There's like, I think the popular ones are Rotom Wash and Rotom Mow, which are the washing machine and the lawnmower ones, respectively. But this seems more like a companion, which we haven't really seen in Pokemon before. I mean, you have your friends or your rivals who kind of help guide you along your journey, but you never have like a always by your side companion giving you advice.
Yeah, whereas you think of the anime, that was the thing that the Pokedex did.
Yeah,
it was always offering you robotic advice.
And this Pokedex is supposed to have more of a personality because there's a Pokemon inhabiting it, and you kind of see in the trailer it says something like "careful with the goods" or whatever it says.
It feels like a Navi role.
That's what I said in my
exactly.
rewind.
It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
or
I knew this thing.
something a little closer to it would be Whisper in Yokai Watch.
Very much like Whisper in
Yeah.
Yokai Watch, especially because Rotom's a ghost.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, by accident, we swear.
Taking a page out of Yokai Watch's book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
well,
I mean, Yokai
Yokai
Watch blew
Watch-
up in Japan.
Yokai
not
Watch
really
took a lot of
worldwide.
pages out of Pokemon's books.
It's only
so-
fair
it's
that
only
they
fair.
reciprocate.
Great artist steal.
Exchange
yeah.
of ideas, yeah.
No, so in Japan, or at least on the Japanese Pokemon website for Pokemon.com, someone found a video of the actual action of opening Rotom, and it looks really cool.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. I'm just really excited about this because this also feels like a very kid-friendly thing in terms of kids can get lost in games like this,
Yeah.
and so having an assistant who can point it out. But at the same time, Pokemon Company, if you're listening, don't make it the overbearing, like, Phi type from
like
Zelda
Professor
Skyward Sword.
Egad in
Oh, gosh.
Luigi's
Luigi's
Mansion
Mansion.
Dark Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
just
the worst. It was
every
like
couple
every
seconds.
5 minutes. I'm like, I know where I'm going.
Just trust me, please.
I hope
Remember to
this
take a
is-
break.
Don't tell me what to do. I hope that this is more of an opt-in. Like you can, because it's saying in the description on the website, it was saying like this Pokedex is going to keep track of conversations you have and give you advice based on that. And I hope that you can go into the Pokedex, open it up, and it's part of something you can access, not like a buzzing in your ear all
No,
the time.
well, and that
you
helps
know?
too, even just keeping track of conversation, because I feel like whenever I take a long break from a game, if I don't remember what was said to me,
It's like
Easy to forget.
it's like
Yeah.
the Bomber's Notebook in Majora's Mask that
Yeah.
keeps track of everything you've learned from talking to people. Like that's really useful.
Yeah, or I feel like most modern RPGs at least had leaned on some sort of a system of here's a log of everything that was said to you, like even Diablo 3 or,
Yeah.
or take whatever you will.
It's really, really useful. It seems like it's shaping up to not be one of those annoying, like, hello, it's been 5 minutes. Are you
Hey,
still
listen.
doing okay?
Hey,
yeah.
listen.
I'm like, shut up.
There's a
So
90% chance you're going to catch whatever.
it better
thing.
not be talking to me the whole time.
Although still, also just jumping back to game footage real quick, no tiptoe, no, like, I'm just looking for things that showed up in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire that were cool experiments to me. Like, I really like the idea of tiptoe, like being able to sort of scan an area, find a certain type, and then try and go for a catch because there was something unique that it would give you.
Yeah.
No signs that that's returning so far.
I imagine it would. There's also something I want to point out is you can scan QR codes to
Yeah,
get
that was the next thing I was
to
going to bring
get
up. Yeah.
Pokedex info, which normally you'd have to either encounter the Pokemon or get in a trade or capture it to get more info on it. I think what they're moving towards, especially with like the Dex Nav stuff in the previous games, it seems like they're trying to make it easier to catch all these Pokemon because the gotta catch them all thing is getting really, really hard.
Especially as they increase the number.
Yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
the QR code is going to make it easier to find where Pokemon are, and I imagine they wouldn't throw out all of the advances in catching Pokemon with hidden abilities and stuff that they introduced in with the Tiptoe and the Dex Nav. So even though we haven't seen it, I really don't think they would get rid of it.
Sure.
They just keep showing signs that they're like, we know catching Pokemon's really hard, and if you have a hard time, here's an easier way to do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
No,
it
yeah.
wouldn't be the first time that they threw away a feature that was well loved in a previous Pokemon game, though.
true. Bring up
an
Let's not
example.
forget Heart Gold, Soul Silver's buddy system with the Pokemon that followed you.
That was
RIP.
so good.
Yeah.
Well,
Why not?
Right?
I love them. It just makes you feel so much more comfortable, and you just. That's like the big thing I love so much from Pokemon Yellow, and I valued. And then you get the buddy system, you get to change them out, and you get to say, "Hey, you're my best friend right now. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
not later."
Yep.
yeah.
No, and it almost feels like what's the excuse? Because every you would imagine that the game has every model in it that would be seen from
Totally.
sort of the world and game perspective.
I mean,
or
there's
what
the
have you.
argument that a different team was working on Heart Gold, Soul Silver, while another team was working on Black and White. So
Right.
like, there's that. But like,
Yeah.
they have the models somewhere. Like, just throw them in, please.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Someone to
it's
help them. Just
I know.
get numbers, for a day.
Yeah, no, it's personality. So then let's talk about the future. What is our hopes for the future of Pokemon related updates? We've gotten two really so far.
Yeah,
with
aside from the
reveal?
teaser with the concept
Yeah,
art.
the
that
teaser
doesn't really
teaser
count.
was the announce. Sadly, you guys got scooped by the internet, but whereas this time you didn't. Good job.
Yep.
Just want to say, but yeah, going forward, like what's a part of the game that you want to hear more about, or if not, what's a general direction you're hoping that they're going to take? Who wants to jump in?
I just want to see more of the starters. Like, I want to see their evolutions. I want to know if Popplio stands a chance against the other ones.
Yeah.
I've seen, of course, there's plenty of fake things going around. Like, there's
Yeah,
this
and,
was
like,
from a magazine. I saw one that
Potential Koro.
Yeah, I saw one that looked somewhat convincing, and I could see like a lot of people getting confused by that.
Totally.
And I was like, just clarify it.
I saw that as well. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that would be
I
really
want
great.
a confirmation.
Yeah, just let us know soon.
Yeah, yeah.
But we want to love.
Totally.
Okay, fair enough. Mondo?
Yeah, definitely would love to see the starter evolutions for sure. But part of me wants to keep that a little secret until I actually play. But knowing the internet's not going to happen.
Yeah. On Reddit, it'll be kept secret.
Yeah.
Like the last update. Sorry, not to cut you off, but the last update. I was just telling this to Callie. Every thread was highlighted as spoiler tags
Oh,
to
wow.
not tell you anything. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like these are starters. This is not that big a
It's
deal."
not a spoiler.
Yeah, and it was like, "Nope,
You,
we will not."
You see them
gonna
at
be
the
everywhere.
beginning of the game anyway.
But I also feel
and this
that
is not to disrespect the
Right.
folks who want to keep it spoiler free. Like I totally hear where you're coming from. I just think there's spoiler free, and then there's a step too far myself. But you were gonna say,
Yeah, same. I totally feel that for sure. But aside from that, I just want a lot more Pokemon. Like, I was kind of disappointed at the roster size of X and Y. Granted, I loved most of those Pokemon. They were really cool designs, really cool movesets. But I just want to see a lot more. I want to see more pre-evolutions, baby evolutions of Pokemon. I want to see more evolutions, not just mega evolutions of like Pokemon that didn't get evolutions in the past, like Jinx.
what about
who
primal
else?
reversions? What was that? Was that a thing
Sure.
that will never happen again?
No,
Like,
I don't know. It's hard to say. They haven't really hinted at it happening to any other like Pokemon. But if I saw a primal Lugia or a primal Ho-Oh, I'd be super down.
Man.
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I want more poison types. I think you brought up a good point that there hasn't been a poison type legendary. There's always a third, so make it happen. And also,
true.
psychic poison is like a sick type combo.
Psychic poison?
Yeah.
Totally.